Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Wednesday in the Rev. A big middle of the week hump day, and
Yep. And we're already preparing for snow tonight and more over the weekend. Hi, Jeff.
that's it. Hey, Jeff. Uh, yeah.
And
No,
from what I understand, we can get anywhere from 8 to 10 inches of snow Sunday into Monday.
but one prognosticator of the weather said that the local stations are panicking too much right now. They haven't really gotten enough information to make those predictions, but they are. So the only other thing is somebody said it was going to be light snow because it's going to be frigid.
Right. It's supposed to be a
Like
light, fluffy snow
the light fluffy stuff. So
because it's
that's
so
what I
cold.
mean. Yeah. So I guess
And it's very cold today.
yeah,
You would
it's
know
cold
you went
today.
to Boston.
Huh?
You would know you went to Boston.
Oh yeah, and it was well. I had a good thing the heater in my car works, but I'll tell you what, a good thing it did because it was a nightmare. The traffic was an absolute. It's always
It
a
always
nightmare.
is.
But it was it was worse than normal. I'm telling you,
It
it was
always is.
terrible. It seems to be getting worse all the time. But somebody, you said that you got a few things. A few people called you with stuff you wanted to.
Oh, yeah. And I made a couple of phone calls to a couple of city councilors who agreed. Who agreed? So obviously, get ready. So, from my understanding, from phone calls from city employees and other personnel, Al Oliveira, director of city operations, which why we have that position, I don't know.
Look at Jeff. What a ball buster. All right, Jeff. Nah, I'm not using it. I rode the T enough from Quincy Adams and
That's
Quincy
right. The red
and
line.
yeah, on the red line. I'm not getting on that that clunker line and
Exactly.
changing trains before I even get anywhere near Boston. It's bad
Exactly.
enough that you got to change. Unless you're going to the State House, you can take the red line to the green line stop and just walk up to the street and you're in front of the
Right.
State House. But otherwise, you got to change trains. We have to change trains to get to our attorney's office. We have to go down, and it's bad enough around Boston, but it's a nightmare.
Especially when it's cold.
Yeah, and but it's like the things that look that's a joke. They keep pushing this thing like it's a reasonable transportation to use for long distance. It's not. The T was started as a metropolitan Boston line for
That's
people
right.
who lived close to Boston to jump on a train and take a 10 or 15-minute ride into Boston instead of driving their car. Not to come from 50 miles away and change trains
And it was actually created before everybody had cars.
that's
Remember
right.
that.
Yeah. And
When
it would
public transportation was the way to get around.
and listen, I can see people that live in outside metropolitan Boston, uh, that to use it, but this is ridiculous. I mean, even hooking it up, even jumping it in Braintree, Quincy Adams, or Quincy. Those are the three stops we normally took because it's right at the split, basically. Um, Even then, we had days where the thing broke down. There was there was a problem with the getting into the other station because the other train hadn't gotten out, and you had to give yourself a ton of
Extra
time,
time all the time.
a ton of time all the time. And it's like now you got the clown show down here running the thing. Uh, it's like you got to be crazy unless you got like 2 or 3 hours to kill to get to Boston. I mean, I drove. I left early. I had to be in my car. Unfortunately, I couldn't get anybody to take a ride of me, and not being in the high occupancy vehicle lane costs you about anywhere from 30 to almost an hour, from 30 minutes to an hour when the traffic's bad. So I had to get in the regular lane because I was alone in the car, and it was a horror show. It was just a horror show, and
that's the way it is.
I don't think I broke 10 miles an hour from the split. It took me 45 minutes to the split to pick it up. And once you get an I-93-3, it took me an hour and a half to get from the split to where I was going. It took me 45 minutes to get from Fall River up to Randolph. And then at the split, once I hit the split, it took me an hour and a half to get into Boston.
Of course.
It's nuts. It's crazy.
Of course.
And I take a shortcut because I know my way around Boston. I don't go by Starro Drive or anything. I think because I do know inner city Boston. Once I get up there and get around Government Center, I can cut in. But yeah, it was a mess. But let's get to Al Oliveira. I want to hear all the skinny on this one.
Well, stop talking about Boston.
You're the guy who brought it up.
No, Jeff brought it up.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the train.
So I received several phone calls today in regards to Al Oliveira, which, as you know, several city councilors don't like him. I found out that he is working without a contract. His contract has expired. He is not working with the contract. He is a bully. He's intimidating workers, threatening them, pulling them off of jobs, and then yelling at them because the previous job wasn't completed. Why? Because he had his ass handed to him by Sean Kadim when Sean Kadim said, "You have all these projects, but none of them have been completed. What have you done?" His response, "I'm only one man. I don't have enough help."
That's the old always the political excuse. Give us more help. That's how we ended up with so many workers on a federal level. They were staying at home working while they were taking bubble baths.
Right.
And still nothing got done.
That's right.
So, yeah, no, we've heard a lot about him. And listen, again,
the worst part about it is he is allegedly the one who got rid of Nancy Smith, who ran the parks for years, decades.
And did a
loyal
good job.
And faithful servant.
And did a good job, by the way.
She did a wonderful job. Even though I called her a park Nazi, it was my term of endearment for her.
That's right, term of endearment. She was a park Nazi, but she was very scrupulous. One of the few people in the city of Fall River that had that demanded accountability.
Exactly.
That's the thing about her.
So Al Oliveira allegedly drove her out. Okay. Then they put Charlie Denmead over there. Al Oliveira allegedly drove him out. And Linda goes around and saying, "Well, we have such a hard time keeping qualified employees." It's not that we have a hard time keeping qualified employees. We have people who won't let people do their job. And Paul is ignoring the complaints. Paul isn't doing anything about the complaints. Why? I don't know.
Well, what does that have on him? He's looking for other incompetent people to put in.
I know. What's he have on him?
Well, I'm not sure if they're all overpaid, Alphonse, but they are.
Well, Al Oliveira's overpaid.
Yeah, well, the thing is,
as I said, he was brought on board with a new title, Director of City Operations, in order to consolidate services and make it more efficient. Since he's come on board, costs have gone up, expenses have gone up, and nothing gets done. You had people complaining about the streets and the sidewalks over the snow. So much so that people decided to take pictures of their cars being parked on the sidewalks because it's cheaper for the ticket. It's a $25 ticket to park on the sidewalk. It's $65 to park in a parking ban zone.
Yeah. Well, I'm reading some of the comments here, and it is true, right, Raymond? You're right. In a lot of places they do not want competent people because
Right.
they will not only show up the incompetent people, they will have to basically throw them under the bus. That's why they try to get rid of them as fast as possible. Because if they go before the council and say, listen, this is wrong, that's wrong, this is wrong, that's wrong, then they might say, well, why have we got all these people to do the job and everything they give us is wrong? Like the numbers that we get from our financial team all the time. You know, this is the problem. You guys know you're right, and we know that. But that's the problem. You can't have an efficient, effective department without good leadership. And we virtually have nothing. No, the department heads in Fall River are not held accountable. What they are is they're held to a higher pay raise. Give them a pay raise. Give them 6 assistants. Give them a few other people, and then complain about everything. You can't make this stuff up.
Remember, if you do something wrong, you have 2 options. 1, keep your mouth shut, your head down, because everyone will forget about it. Or 2, take a buyout.
Yep.
You did it wrong. It was illegal. It was immoral. It was whatever. You stole from the city. We'll buy you out because we want to give you the opportunity to get a job somewhere else. And we don't want this to follow you.
Yeah, that's the guy, Jimmy. You got him. Yeah. You pegged it. That's the guy that said there was nothing wrong because he walked through the Central Fire Station. Went through the Central Fire Station with a blindfold, seeing eye dog. So I think the dog's got mesothelioma now because of all the asbestos there. Yeah. Look, this is what you get because, and look, Sean Kadeem brought this up, but I'm not happy with Kadeem either. Now Kadeem wants to take over the. You know how I feel about that organization that spends our tax money wherever they want, and they have a board right now, the CPA. And now Kadeem, he's scaring me. They're scaring me because I see another takeover. We have the corrupt Coogan administration, and I am a good conspiracy theorist. I have a very active imagination. Now let me put this to everybody. Think about this scenario. We've seen Kadeem now take away all our rights to basically control spending by setting a bar so high they would have to bankrupt the city, and it would be actually irrelevant anyway because we would be bankrupt and we'd be in receivership. Now, because people are complaining about the EPA, he wants to take this. He's going to put in another resolution for the city council to take over. They're going to make the choices. Well, it doesn't make any difference whether the committee that takes care of their friends are there or the city council now picks their own friends. Let's make this perfectly clear. Some of us don't want that tax. I don't want them to take my money and give private entities, in many cases, my money. I determine who I give that to. That's why I never gave to the United Way. The United Way always gave money to some charities I didn't like. And I used to say, well, you can tell them that you don't want to give. I said, bullshit. I don't know where my money goes on. I give to the charities that I want to support. Whether it's, the American Cancer Society, whatever I give to charities that I care about. You're not going to tell me the CPA. I've been against the CPA since the CPA was being discussed and rammed down the city's throat by lying again, like they did about Durfee and the Durfee debt, lying about everything, about the charter. We're only going to tweak it. No, they threw it in the barrel. They completely rewrote it. They lied. CPA was supposed to be about taking care of historical buildings, and it was going to be such a wonderful thing to the community. Then they start handing out all kinds of money to their friends. So it should be gone. We pay enough freaking taxes, Sean. Stop it. You can't give us back a penny, can you? Not one lousy red cent. I want to see some city councilor put in a resolution for them to put it on the ballot for us to eliminate it. Sean Kadim will never give us back anything. He likes taxes. He said that. Oh, you got a tax. He's not a city councilor. He's a de facto city administrator, just looking for more money for politicians to spend. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. You're going to take it away from the committee and you're going to give it to yourself. Oh, what do I see coming here? Let me put on my conspiracy hat here. Let's see. Okay, like Karnak the Magnificent here. Let's see. These are the rumors. These are allegations, but let's float this conspiracy theory here. Paul Coogan is going to leave office prematurely. Cliff Ponte, who's Robin, is going to become mayor.
For 90 days.
And then we're going to start talking about a new city administrator and everything else, and type E charters and big giant fat paychecks. And what happens then when they take over the city? Batman and Robin. All these little things he's given himself the right to spend our money, never give us any money back. What happens now? Oh, wait a minute. Maybe somebody will float the idea, let's get Sean Kadim back. Let's get him back. He did his OJT over here. He's in Seekonk. He's doing such a wonderful job in Seekonk. Let's bring him back to Fall River. He's been a counselor. He knows all about the city. Let's give him $300,000 because we need to pay him good because he's getting $200,000 already. Let's bring Sean back. I can see that. I can see that. Why these people who know I'm on the air call me?
They do it to me all the time.
Yeah. No, look, it's an end around for all of them. No accountability. Even though by the Constitution they're accountable to us, the politicians in these blue states, this is what they do. They tell you, screw the law. Look, they invaded a church, and then they're telling you that's illegal. I hate to tell them that, but it's a prohibition about interfering with a thing. But this is nuts. You want to see the difference between a red state and a blue state? I pulled up something today, and when I was going over my news stuff, I'll give you the highlights without even looking it up. There was some homeless crazy person choking a child at a school bus stop, and a passerby saw it driving the car, stopped the car, got out of the car, confronted the guy. The guy pulled a knife on him. So the guy hit him in the head with a toolbox a couple of times and then sat on him till the police got there. Hi, Marcy. And guess what? He's been arrested. He has got a previous record. The child was distraught, obviously. But if that happened in Massachusetts, they'd arrest the guy that stopped the guy from choking the kid. And they'd release the homeless guy back out into the street. And this is what happens. This is the problem that we have. We have the politicians are out of control. No matter where you look, Brett Smiley in Providence, to show you how bad these people are. I got to read this up. How much they piss me off. I'm gonna tell you how bad they are. Let's see. Yeah, Brett Smiley, in his first executive order years, unveiled an executive order to make it more difficult for federal immigration authorities to conduct enforcement operations. Now, here's a guy that's saying that they're prohibiting the use of city property for civil immigration enforcement activity. Why? It's still illegal, and there's a federal supremacy clause. Then here's a guy that wants to stop law enforcement from enforcing the law at its highest level, the federal government. This is what politicians do. They talk about the law, they make the law, and they ignore the law when it benefits them politically. Somebody's running against them for mayor. I saw the other guy that was running against him. He's got somebody running against him, so right now he's putting on his woke cape and telling the people that we will allow people who violated the Constitution of the United States. Yeah, he declared, yeah, this is what they do in these blue states, and you wonder why they're all toilets. Like I said, look at Florida. The guy hit the guy in the head with a toolbox, held him for the police. The police arrested him. He's in jail. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, they'd arrest the guy that hit the guy with the toolbox, and they'd let the other guy back loose to go terrorize children again.
Hey, we got a comment here from our friend No Jab. He says, the CPA is equivalent to Somali fraud.
True. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Not as they haven't gotten as big yet, but they're working.
Not yet. But when you look at the fact that Sandy Dennis advocated for her organization, CAN, for $28,000 for a study on the waterfront historic district that her husband runs the organization, so they get the $28,000. Isn't that a little bit of an ethical complaint?
Sounds like
an ethical violation? We brought this up before.
Well, I don't know.
All right, the guy for the $225,000 for Windows got denied, but the CAN one is going to go through. I don't know.
Well, last time I checked the ethics law, actually, it's funny. You talk to me. You know, I just got an email from the state that I have to take. It's been 2 years. I have to take the conflict of interest law class again.
Yeah.
You take it, then they ignore it. It's not, look, the conflict of interest law, as you well know, CJ, clearly says that even if it's not a conflict of interest, just the perception of a conflict of interest should not be done. So you're not going to tell me when you're advocating for something for that your husband is in charge of, for money to be given, I think you have to recuse yourself. I mean,
and the worst part about it is, according to the application that I saw, it's not even complete. Now, when Carlos submitted an application for asbestos removal, they denied him because it wasn't complete. I think it was another reason, but they denied him because it wasn't complete. But Sandy Dennis puts one through and gets it approved, even though it's not complete. Oh, and by the way, Rick Mancini spoke about it with the Historic Commission and advocated for it. Didn't vote on it.
Well, they're all part of the club.
But when it was at the CPC, advocated again.
Listen, that was from the get-go, and Gene's right. Yeah, there was a guy. You're right, Gene. But let's from the get-go, we knew this was going to be a slush fund for the politically connected. It wasn't, and like I said, just remember how duplicitous they are. Everything they do, they cloak in this cape of, oh, it's wonderful. It's going to be a wonderful thing. We're going to take care of the historic buildings in Fall River. Then they give out air conditioners to their buddies, one of the power brokers' wives in her facility, and they give somebody else something. Listen, like I said, if you got a historic building and you want to raise money for it, do a fundraiser.
That's right.
Don't take my tax money. I don't want you taking my tax money. I pay enough freaking taxes, and now we got Kadeem wanting to control this too.
Well, here's the thing.
Away our right. So
here's the thing. If we put forward the option of repealing the CPA, it's got to go to a ballot.
Yep.
So if we put it forward, we need 100 signatures to present to the city council to give them the opportunity to put it on the ballot. If they don't act, I don't know if it's 30 days, 45 days, whatever it may be. If they don't act, we have to present them with like 3,500 more signatures. Okay? 35 and change.
You know something that get me so aggravated, CJ? I think when the weather breaks and it's nice and warm, and I think it may be the time for Gene and Jeff and all these other people that are politically active for us to do it again like we did with the recall. And I'm going to tell you that
get the signatures, because there's no time limit. There's no time limit on the signatures, by the way.
And that CPA has been a thorn in our side since its inception.
And you know what? I think people,
I'm not going to say they've done no good, because
I think people have it right now. I think people have it right now where they will be more than happy to get rid of the CPA because it will, maybe a small amount, but it will lower the property taxes a little bit.
That's right, at least a little bit.
The city doesn't want to give up this
that, CJ. Sean goes, no, you're not getting a dime back. Everybody else doesn't have to pay the city.
That's right.
I.e. Westport for their water.
Right.
Everybody can screw Fall River except the people that live in Fall River.
That's right.
We're the screwees. We're the ones that are getting screwed.
If I'm one day late with my water bill payment or one day late with my tax payment, I got a lien on my house, I got to pay interest, I got to go jump through all kinds of hoops.
And if Westport never pays their bill, what do they get? Nothing.
Well, right. We don't even have a shut-off valve to shut it off.
This is it. I mean, I think the city's hit the wall. I think the people of Fall River are going to be in the mood when the weather breaks to get out and maybe exercise their rights and try to take our government back, because I mean, it's out of control. They take away the right, the rest of 5 million's a pittance, 20 million in a fiscal year's a pittance. It's not a pittance. How many times do we have to tell you that the average per capita income in the city is $31,993? So well, round it up to 32,000. The average in the state's like 66. It's like less than half. The average household income is only 53. And they act like this is Newton, where it's 165 to 185, depending on what source you go to, as opposed to 53. I mean, they sit in that council chamber and they pontificate and they talk about all this stuff they have to do. Why do they really have to do it? Can you do that? Can I do that? Can the people that are watching us, can the taxpayer do? Can you put a roof on if you don't have any money? No. Can you get your car fixed when you don't have enough money to pay to get the car fixed? No, you got to take a bus. Maybe even the MBTA. I said that, Jeff, as a joke. I was being facetious. I will never take that. But the fact is that we can't do that. We don't have that luxury. But they do. You can't walk across the street and tell your neighbor, "Hey, I want you to give me some money. I got to put a roof on my house." You might get bludgeoned, I don't know. If you start going around to your neighbors and asking them for a loan to pick the roof, they're going to tell you fix your own effing roof. You know, you can't. You know, that's it. We can't do that. But they never stop. And not only do they don't stop, they don't even want to be controlled. They don't even want to have a guardrail, even though the Constitution says, as I always say, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Today, I'm shutting this thing off. I just silenced it. Everybody's calling me. And it's like, and they all know I'm on the air. That's, I'll be calling them all
don't
later.
Forget to turn the ringer back on.
Yeah, you know, we don't have that luxury. And, you know, even though the Constitution, as I said, of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you can all look it up. It says in part of the first, CJ and I's favorite part of the whole Constitution, Section 5, it says that all branches of government, whether judicial, executive, or legislative, are at all times answerable to the people. That's what it says. Basically verbatim. That's what it says. But everybody in Massachusetts goes, hey, pick a finger. We don't, what, audit us? Horse shit. You're not auditing us. The people voted over 70% to audit them. What did the politicians tell you? You don't want to give me a pay raise? We're going to change the law so we can give ourselves a pay raise. And your people never get these people out of office. There's the problem. We got to start dumping these people. We have to really start dumping these people because this is outrageous. I mean, you know, Kadim's out of control. He's out of control. He wants to take all the accountability away from them. You elected us, now we get to spend all your money any way we want it. Shut up. You elected us. Well, shame on the people who voted for that. And like I said, I see it on the wall. I see the, oh my God. CJ, I gotta mute this. Hang on. I gotta mute myself here. I got a call coming in from the state.
You're muted.
Bill.
Yeah, hi Bob. How you doing?
Listen.
Oh well. So it's always something. Any way you look at it, it's always something. And no matter what you do, because, you know, Jeff, I know you brought up the fact that you're thinking twice now about going to a Type E charter because that's going to give the city council total control over everything. Yes and no. They get control over who the city administrator is going to be. That's all. And that's okay. Let them know who the city administrator is going to be. But the city administrator sets the agenda, sets who spends what, who gets how much. And that's the way that works.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think Sean wants to be mayor either. I think he's got a good gig going on in Seekonk.
Yep.
And I don't think Fall River's ever going to meet that salary. $200,000. We only give our mayor $120,000.
Well, remember, they always say that, and I apologize for answering that call, but I will explain that call. I will never answer a call to get away from the show. That call was from the State Retirees Association. I am filing a complaint against the organization that is screwing us on the healthcare, or tried to screw us on the healthcare. And they were calling me to talk to me with their legal counsel because they are going to be trying to determine who I have to file a complaint with on the healthcare. So it was a very important phone call for the retirees of the city of Fall River, and I was obligated to take that call. I thought he would call me a lot earlier, but I guess they called me at the end of their day. So they will call me tomorrow. It's going to be a very long discussion, but I apologize for having to leave the show to answer a call. I won't do that.
Not a problem.
It's critically important. But But no, CJ, you're right on. You're right on. It is. It's a mess. We have a mess, and I don't. Like I said, I could see Sean Kadeem coming here if they get in power and say we're going to give him 300 grand.
Oh yeah, but I don't think we're ever going to see. They can't come up with 120. More than
They're not going to look. I mean, look, our mayor's getting 120, and that's that's $119,999 too much. All right, so I can do the math in my head. So,
I know.
I mean, this is the problem. We've had a ceremonial mayor for years. They're all run by the power brokers in the city, and everybody knows that.
Right, and that's why they don't want a Type E charter.
That's right.
Okay? They don't want a Type E charter.
Yeah. No, you're right. And we've been advocating for a Type E charter since we went on the air.
Right.
I mean,
and the worst part about the whole thing is when you look at these things, they're little things at first, but they end up being bigger things in the long run. For instance, the real estate committee met and decided to sell the building to the lone bidder, whose bid package was, are you ready? Incomplete. Incomplete. And when I spoke to the two city councilors, I only spoke to one of them, but there were only two city councilors that were there, Michelle Dion and Sean Kadeem. And Sean Kadeem brought up every single failure of the bid. Do you know why they accepted it? At less than fair market value, by the way. They accepted it because, well, he's got the money to complete the project.
Yeah.
That was the only criteria.
If he's got the money to complete the project and he can't fill out the application form, it's suspect. And look, there's no account. Look, they never hold anybody accountable.
No.
It was in a tank.
And remember, this developer serves on a board. He's a board member.
That's right. There's always a deal. There's always a con. Look, we're going to go back. Remember, we had a former city employee, a head of a department, testify at a trial that they paid somebody for excavation out of the snow removal fund.
Right.
Was there ever an investigation? Was there ever an attempt to clean up the way we do business in Fall River? No, never. And it never will, as long as these people are in office. It suits their agenda. They don't require applications to be filled out properly. They will never get fair market value for anything if their friend wants it at less than fair market value.
I'll give it. Lincoln School, $5,000. Resold, $875.
If you try to get it, they'll throw you out of the office.
That's right.
They'll go, "What are you, nuts? I'm not taking that bid for this building. Oh, my pal, the multimillionaire, is going to give me a lowball bid. Oh yeah, he gets it.
He'll get it.
And let's give him a tiff on top.
That's right.
And let's see what else we can do for him. Let's pave his street.
And let's see if we get him some CPA funds too.
That's right. And give him a couple of CPA funds on top too.
Right.
But I mean, this is the problem. We talk about it on virtually every show, and there's only one cure. Change the people who run the city. If you change the charter, I'm not even sure if that'll work, because this city's so freaking corrupt. Look, we've seen them. They don't even abide by the Constitution of the state.
I know.
They can't. How can you expect them to do something that would be detrimental to them and their friends and their power base and making money?
Well, you know what's interesting?
Therein lies the problem.
You know what's interesting? Because, we talk about this all the time on the show. Our viewers talk about it. Vote, 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 vote. Okay? What does Fall River do? They don't vote. I was watching on the 12 o'clock newscast 2 protesters against ICE. 2. And you know what they said? Do you know what the cause of this problem is? You people don't vote. If you people went out and voted, we wouldn't have this problem right now. Which is quite possibly true.
Yeah.
Maybe there wouldn't be a problem. Maybe it would be another problem.
Yeah. They're approaching it from the opposite angle, but
Right, they're looking from the opposite side. But again, what's the main root of the problems on both sides of the street? Voting. You don't vote for Mitch.
well, it shows how convoluted they are, though, because
Right.
they're saying that if you wouldn't have voted for Trump or something, people wouldn't vote for Trump. You wouldn't have ICE enforce. Well, ICE is supposed to enforce the law. It's a constitutional mandate that they enforce the law.
Well,
The
you know what's
fact-
interesting? Under Obama, okay, remember this. Under Obama, the ICE director was given an award. Okay? Was given an award. Under Trump, the ICE director is called a Nazi. Guess who that ICE director is in both situations? Holman.
Yeah.
Under Obama and under Trump. Same person handling
And
immigration.
Obama deported millions.
A lot more than Trump has so far.
Remember, so than Trump has so far. This
Right.
is the Democratic playbook. They can invade churches. They can stop, even though there's a law against it. But when you ask a Democrat, you tell them they're violating the law, they say, no, we're not. We're demonstrating. We're protesting. And we have a right to do that. No, you don't. There's a constitutional law that says you cannot impede a worship service. You can't go into a church. It's sacrosanct. We talked about in the Middle Ages, they were places you could go and they were sanctuaries. And the thing is that these people, the law is optional for them. It is discretionary. The Democrats look at Mark Kelly. Mark Kelly now tells soldiers to disobey orders. But I said disobey illegal orders. No, you're implying that they get the right to determine what is an illegal order. They don't. The Uniform Code of Military Justice tells them what a illegal order constitutes. Not you and not them personally. And Obama deported almost everyone he deported. If Trump did that, they're already accusing Trump of doing that. The
Right.
Democrats have switched their position. I just saw a Democratic senator say the other day in an interview, well, they said they were only going to deport murderers, rapists, and criminals and gang members. And most of these people are not. So don't deport them. Well, Obama didn't deport rapists, murderers, and killers. He deported everybody. Most of those people were long-term residents of the United States, and they had jobs, but he deported them. But that was okay because he's a Democrat. Now the Democrats are saying you can't deport the ones who don't commit a crime. No, yes, you can, because they're in this country illegally. This is the problem with the Democrats. They speak out of every orifice. Their anal sphincter, their mouth, their ears, everywhere.
And they don't take an enema first.
Nothing
So you
to
know
them.
that's doing shit.
Nothing to them is carved in stone. The law, the Constitution are optional, discretionary. Oh, the Constitution says we've got to enforce the law. Obama can enforce it, but Trump can't. He did worse. Most of the people, the majority of people that Obama pushed out of this country were people who were not criminals. Now they're saying, oh, you can't deport them now. You can't. Why? Because now they're voting for us. We got them all registered. So that's why. And this is the problem. I tell you what can stop protests, Gene, a 50 caliber. They break up quick.
They do.
So,
They
but,
do.
I mean, look, it's a joke. They had that Don Lemon on there, just showing how stupid they are. They interviewed him because he was in that church, and he told one of somebody came out and was debating him, and he said, we have a right to protest anywhere and any time we want, and it's up to us. And protests are supposed to be disruptions. That's what. Well, he's wrong. This guy called himself a journalist and a reporter, and he's a moron. There's a law against interrupting a religious service. It's a federal law, and they don't even know it, and they don't care because they can kill people. Remember, the Democrats are the one that said, "Go kill the ICE agents." The only good ICE agent is a dead ICE agent. And remember something: this playbook hasn't changed in years. Remember 2020? Who are they calling scum, pigs, defund? The police.
That's right.
Scumbags. Get rid of them. Kill the police. Kill the police. Why? They wanted to win the election. George Floyd. Fast forward, 2026. We got now another martyr. Now they've went from one law enforcement agency to another law enforcement agency. Now they went from the local police departments to the federal law enforcement agency. And they're doing the same thing, ginning up everybody, lying about things, saying it's okay to kill them. It's okay to kill anybody. And it's all for political power. They don't care if those morons who believe their bullshit die. They're happy. It'll be newsworthy. It'll be newsworthy. No, you're right, James. I mean, listen, look, Coogan does probably the least for anybody in this state, but like I said, they talk a good game. But to me, that's a national outrage. The homeless population in California is just it's just incredible. It's mind-boggling. They don't do anything. They let them sleep in the street. They let them.
How about Texas?
And we spend hundreds of billions of dollars. The Democrats, remember, gave billions of dollars to send condoms to Bangladesh or something like that, for drag shows in some other country, and for somebody to be quote unquote consultants, billions and billions, gave the NGOs billions and billions of dollars, and we have people who are drug addicted laying in the street, homeless veterans. It is a national disgrace. It's a national disgrace. It's more prevalent in blue states, but it happens in all the states, and to me that proves that they're all the same. The Democrats are really bad. But I don't have a lot of, the Republicans don't do a lot for this problem either. Nobody does.
The Republican Party in Massachusetts is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay? Hey, how many people heard that Tom Quinn is not running for re-election? No reason given. So what happens as soon as Tom Quinn announces that? Seth Akins makes a beeline to We Suck at Radio and spends the entire show with Wayne Rigo talking about all the wonderful things he's done. Doesn't talk about his questionable ethical violations. Doesn't talk about the questionable reasons he left the city of Fall River. But he makes sure he wants to be there. I'm wondering where the Democrats are going to come up with a candidate to run for that seat, because we need somebody. This is interesting. How many people have looked at this thing? National Grid bill.
Oh, yeah.
Have we really looked at the fees?
Yeah.
Has anyone looked at the fees?
I have.
Okay. Think about this for a second. Customer charge. You get charged $10 just for being a customer. Distribution charge. $35.49.
Yeah.
Transition charge. That's 0.00036 cents per kilowatt hour. Transmission charge. Energy efficiency charge. So we're going to charge you to be more energy efficient. That's like our water. The less you use, the more you pay. Renewable energy charge. So we're going to charge you for solar energy, for wind energy.
Yeah,
We're going to charge you for that.
But you missed the one that's coming you don't know about yet.
Okay? Net meter recovery charge. $6.62 on this particular bill. You ready for this? Distributed solar charge. Here's the one I love. Electric vehicle charge. I don't have an electric vehicle. Why should I have to pay for electric vehicles?
Because all the Democrats have got them.
That's right. No, because Maura Healey wants to push her zero carbon footprint agenda.
Yeah, well, that way. But Jimmy, I think it was Jimmy. Yeah, that was a Massachusetts general law, but the federal statute on interfering with the right to worship is a federal statute. There's a federal statute that's far more, even more. There's a lot more severe punishment for that because it's based on the constitutional mandate of it too. The Mass General Law, that's kind of a little slap on the wrist, but the federal statute, which they're prosecuting these people under, is far more. Is far more. I saw a couple of legal constitutional scholars talking about it, and they cited it, and it's a little bit more. But you know the one you didn't get on that bill.
Which one?
The one that they bill you just because they can bill you. The service charge for service. That's what I said. Just because we can bill you for service charge, we're going to bill you again.
I said that at the beginning. It's $10.
Yeah. But they're going to put another surcharge on that.
Yeah. Why not?
And this is the problem. And Maura Healey will rubber stamp it.
That's right. Here you go. Boom.
Boom.
It's what makes America great.
And let's hope we get it. Can you imagine we got the only candidate for DA right now was a guy that had to leave his job because he did something that was
questionable,
illegal, questionably legal.
Right.
Hey, it fits. It's like the old Castilian saying, "Tell me who you walk with, I'll tell you who you are." Well, the city's
here's my conspiracy theory mind going. If I didn't know better, I would say that Seth Aiken said he was going to run for office knowing that Tom Quinn wasn't going to run.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't put it past him.
No, that's a pretty plausible thing. I like that conspiracy theory. That's a good one.
That's right. That's a good one.
So
remember that.
I wouldn't be surprised. Listen, as we said earlier in the show, this city, we have a mayor that's just like Joe Biden. He's like Biden Jr. He's useless. He can't do anything by his own admission. But we've had other mayors that pretended to be mayors, but they're not really the mayors. They're run by the power brokers. We all know the rich people who got them in office, who who get all the pavings and all the breaks and all the tips, and there's always an end around, and they bring in more of their rich friends, and the people in Fall River have been just left behind for decades. And now with this recent administration, it's beyond the point of no return. I think we've crossed the Rubicon. The city can't take it anymore. I mean, it's going to end up like Detroit. We're going to have nothing but people that they stick in these quote unquote market rate housings who are probably mostly illegals, and they're going to get subsidized by the state to do it. Like Maura Healey, Maura Healey took them all out of the hotels. Where'd they go? Where'd they go? That's my
They're not
question.
living on the street.
I know one thing: they're not going to Florida. They're not
That's
going
right.
to red states for sure,
That's
because
right.
they're going to get locked up.
That's
And
right.
look around the city. I see them in the markets. I see them everywhere. It's like, I'm starting to learn a little Nigerian now. I see so much. I'm starting to pick up a little Nigerian now.
There you go. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Try to stay warm, okay? Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Friday.